What? Did we just become best friends? Yeah!
One is a t-shirt queen, and the other is an SEO and web developing ninja. And both of these squirrels are a little nuts. You're now listening to the More Gooder Ideas podcast, a show for the small business hustlers worldwide, encouraging you to be your most authentic self. This is the place where your whole story matters. Come for the tips and stay for the fun. Now, your hosts, Angie Patterson and Jay Smith.
So, what's going on?
What's my hair look like?
I mean,
It's a new trend.
kind of like a fembot kind of thing going.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going on?
I am excited for a new year. I am one of those people who does get motivated and rejuvenated at the beginning of the year to, I guess the new thing is set intentions, not resolutions.
Okay.
I don't know what the difference is, but that's what Instagram is telling me. So
I feel like it's a softer landing when you don't do it.
yeah.
I mean, because a resolution is like this fucking happening,
Right.
resolute, and an intention is like I might do it.
I'm going to put some effort towards
I
this.
feel like the kind of person who wants to do this thing, but if I don't, no biggie.
Yeah. And as in February of 2024, this will be my third year in business. So really thinking about what my next steps are in my business.
Okay. This is my third year of business.
Really?
October, November, yeah.
You seem so much more experienced.
That's because I'm old. It feels like it. Like, oh, that old guy's got something to say.
It's the salt and pepper,
Right.
you know.
Wait till I start whittling while we're talking. I think I'm a wizard. Got a butterscotch.
So,
Some Werther's Original.
Yeah. I'm actually 100 years old.
Right. Yeah. Look good.
Showing me your album from the Voyage of the Titanic.
Right. This is where we broke through all of the ice in the North Pole to get to Admiral Broad and his team.
Oh gosh. So yeah, I'm having a little bit of anxiety as usual because I'm setting goals for my business more so than my personal self for 2024. So trying to really think about what's most important, what can I accomplish, does this goal make sense for my business or for this year or for this time frame? So that's how I'm doing.
Cool. So what are those goals? Not all of them. I mean, you don't have to rip them off the top of your head, but what's some of the big, intentions?
What are my intentions?
Yeah.
My 2024 intentions. Well, I did get my LLC for Sandy Pants Customs.
Cool.
So I really want to fine tune my actual, the business part of my business. I think I've mastered making like a high quality product. I think I know my customer. I think I know the steps to take to kind of grow my following and stuff. So now it's really kind of hammering down on the business aspects, as far as money going in, money going out, and just being more professional.
Sure.
Not necessarily in like my demeanor or anything.
I mean, that would ruin your whole brand. So
I'm a mess, people. But I don't want my business to be a mess, you
Sure.
know? And where I'm at with my business right now, that sole responsibility falls on me. I would love to pass it off to like a CPA or something at some point. But right now, the majority of that is going to come from me. So that's really my number one intention is less flying by the seat of my pants as far as my business decisions go.
okay. That's good.
What about you?
So I mentioned it on LinkedIn and I mentioned it in the last episode. So my big goal for 2024 is to get certified as a B Corp, which is a certifying the public benefit of Root of Pie and basically codifying in your company charter as you grow, it basically states that, nobody, even if they bought you, can invalidate that for profit's sake. They can't say, no, we're not doing this anymore because it's actually it's part of the company.
Okay.
And it's a rigorous process. There's, the good thing is becoming Canopy certified last year, which is a Kentucky centric organization that's very aligned with B Corps, but it's a smaller scale. And it was created by the creators to help small businesses make those steps towards a B Corp, because they want Kentucky to be a destination state for businesses that want to do, people want to work for companies that have a purpose. They want to do business with companies that have a purpose. My company already does. I'm a veteran-owned business. I work with JCPS. I'm Canopy certified. We do a lot of work with nonprofits. So I want to codify that. I want to put that in stone. So even if, as I scale, even if it comes to the point where I need to bring on investors or I need to sell the company, that is always going to be a part of Root of Pie.
Nice.
If you don't want that to be a part of Root of Pie, then you got to do something else. That's my big goal. Alongside of that, though, is also to, much like you, to really refocus on what I'm doing, and because it's been, for 2 years, it's been a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yes.
And finding out, and I've been successful, but I've been successful kind of like a bulldozer is going to be successful going through a hill eventually. And you just keep doing that, and eventually you're going to, flatten it out. I'd like to be more intentional about it because I've only got so many hours in the day and so much energy.
Yes, that was part of my thing too. I spend so much time worrying about what I should be doing instead of just doing it.
Yeah. Well, and the challenge for me is I'm neurodivergent, so I get excited about something. I go down this path and I try this and I try that, and I'm like, all right, now it's AI, and now it's this and that, and to the detriment of the growth of my business. I mean, luckily, I'm still successful because of the product I provide and the relationships I build. But
is it sustainable?
Right, and it's not sustainable, and it's also it's impossible for me to sell this company because I'm it. I'm the product.
Right.
So I'm the one who's doing everything. So I have to systematize what I do, which I can do. I just haven't taken the time to do it. I need to make, videos for every process of what I do, put it all on paper, have SOPs, and finally have that. So it'll make life a lot easier when my business scales to the point where I need help.
Yeah.
Because then I can either find a developer locally, or I can go on Upwork, or I can go and provide, this is what we do. So the onboarding becomes a lot less painful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that something that was really important for me in setting my goals and intentions for this year was kind of looking back at what I've done, what lessons I've learned, where this kind of all started. So what started Root of Pie? What is Root of Pie? What does that mean?
What does the name mean?
What started you? Yeah.
Okay. So it's a trope that I don't even remember when I heard it. I don't. It's just one of those things that sticks with you, much like you with Ghostface. Things that are just part of your own little cultural thing. Like, you just love them. And it's been many, many, many years that I read somebody's little essay or their little diatribe about the root of pi. And for anybody who doesn't know, it's a mathematical expression. It's the square root of 3.14. And it's impossible to derive because it's infinite. And I know some dork out there is going to say, if you actually go to 29 days, shut up, stop.
It's never ending.
Throw your phone in the ocean. Stop it. Anyway, it's infinite, right? It keeps on going forever, which is an irrational number. We can't comprehend infinity.
That's the shit that keeps you up at night.
Right. You can't comprehend something has no end and no boundaries. So I thought that was fascinating in its own right. And then I saw somebody wrote, yes, the root of pi is infinite. However, because it's 1 point, blah, 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 it absolutely must exist between number 1 and number 2. So it's infinite, but it has boundaries.
Huh.
So that just I could sit there and think on that and talk about that forever. I mean, especially if I was high, but I'm not. And maybe that's where it came from back in my college days. I don't know. But the idea is like, because of my breadth of experience in technology and software development and cybersecurity and web development, like, yeah, there are limits to what we can do, but within those limits, we can do anything. We can figure it out. We can solve a problem using technology almost every single time. We can create entire worlds. So that's where that comes from.
How do you think that drives your business now? Or does it still have that same significance now as it did 3 years ago?
It's not as so wild and all over the place, because 3 years ago, like, hey, I need this, I need that. Yep, let me do it. I'll figure it out. And I figured it out. I'll build an app. I taught myself app development because we needed to build an app. That was 6 years ago. But, hey, I want to do SEO. I want to do PPC. I want to try this. I want to do that. Yes. I'll do everything. And then I'll just figure it out. Just because that's just my skill set. So now it's more, these are the tools that I know work. These are the processes that I know really work well. So if you have a certain need or you're trying to accomplish a goal, this is the most efficient and cost-saving way to do it, as opposed to let's just try everything or we'll just find it. So I think, yes, I still have that mindset where there is a solution to your challenge. Whether it's me or not, there's a solution, and I can help you find that. But now I'm a little more efficient with how we get to that, rather than just let me figure it out.
Yeah.
So again, I'm moving away from the broadsword, closer to the scalpel. Still not the scalpel,
But you feel like it still like represents your brand and your business.
absolutely.
Pie.
Yeah, because I'm going to bring a nerdy kind of, aspect to anything, but I also think that nerdy stuff can be really cool. It can be lame as shit too, but I think that this and that's why I go with the dark black branding and the orange and the very striking stuff, because I was like, nerdy stuff can be cool. But yeah, no, I think it absolutely represents it, and that's who people know me as. So it's not like I would change it. I mean, I might, at some point get my just my overall look, refined, because I literally made that logo on Canva.
Yeah, me too.
I used the Jingleberry font and a pie symbol. That same logo that's rocking my website, that's a Canva logo.
Hold strong with
That's
the
right.
Canva logo. That's what I'm doing.
So where did Sandy Pants come from, as if I don't know?
Well, the business came from necessity,
Sure.
out of a necessity. But I really wanted it to be personal, because I wanted kind of the opposite of what you were talking about, your goals. Like, I really wanted it to be from my point of view. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing was really my mom's idea. She's kind of the silent partner of this whole thing. And just in the teeny tiny bit of research I did about like kind of your first steps, like choosing a name, was to make it something that was personal to you. And in the field I am in of apparel and accessories, specifically t-shirts, there's a lot of the same. It's Angie's Creations. It's Jay's Designs. It's Susan's Teas and Things, or whatever. It's very kind of the same thing over and over again. And so as we were just brainstorming, we were talking about like nicknames, which nobody's nickname for me is appropriate to make the name of a business. But one of my lifelong friends always called my mom Sandy Pants.
Okay.
And I thought that was kind of like tongue in cheek.
Because her name is Sandy.
Her name is Sandy, and we don't make pants, we make shirts. And so to me, I'm just like, I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So that was it. And I really didn't know what a great idea that was, because I get so many compliments all the time about,
It's unique.
yeah, that people think it's cute. And to me, I didn't think it was really that unique, because lots of people call my mom that. But, and it's kind of worked out well for us in the long run, because it is something we can make jokes about. We talk about that I'm the pants of Sandy Pants, or like I said, we make shirts. So it's funny that that's the name, and kind of gives us the opportunity to start conversations about, well, I'm not Sandy, but let me tell you about Sandy, and let me tell you about who I am.
I remember when I first met you it took me a while to get past the "you're not Sandy."
Yeah.
Because it's the name of the damn business. Like,
Which could be seen as a con. It's a little hurdle sometimes with people, but it's actually a really great conversation starter because then people will say, oh, you're Sandy, or they'll call me Sandy. And I'm like, actually not. But then it opens up the door for a conversation. And, now we're talking about something else and we're making a connection that is not seller to buyer.
Sure.
So I think we'll keep it. I
Yeah.
think we'll definitely keep Sandy Pants as our name for a long time.
You brought up a good point. Because Root of Pie does drive some conversations, particularly when I'm talking to a software vendor, somebody who I may be working with on the phone. This is the first time, because whenever you set up a call, they check you out on your website and they're like, what's Root of Pie? I'm like, read the About Us page, motherfucker. No.
Put a lot of time into that.
Yeah. I wrote it. I thought it was great. But Guerrilla Web Designs,
Okay.
Story Web Designs, Nashville Web Works.
Jay Smith, web designer.
Jay Web Designer. And I'm not going to shit on any company that names like that, but it's not something like, what's that about? Because that's when the conversation gets going. Mm-hmm. It's not like, Jay Smith Web Designs. What do you do? No, it's...
Well, actually, I'm a painter.
Right. Thought I'd throw people with the stuff.
Yeah, I think it's something I didn't put that much thought into.
I didn't either.
But it's worked out pretty well for us, and that's why you should take our advice on things. That's why you should listen to this podcast.
This is it. Took us 25 episodes to get around to the point.
And it's especially if you're starting a business, I think that can be really stressful.
Sure.
Just trying to think of what are you going to call it, and is that going to be sustainable for, hopefully you're going to keep growing and stay in business. But my advice is just wing it.
Yeah. No, that's because, the business name, the web design, the logo, all that stuff can really turn into a spiral of putting off doing the thing, actually hanging out your shingle and selling and talking to people. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, but I got to get business cards, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think on it too long, but like you said, I mean, if you're getting ready to just start something and you're stuck, talk to the people who know you. They know tropes that you say or things about you, or they have nicknames for you, or you have an inside joke with your spouse or something like that. Just go with it, because anything that has an interesting backstory, it's going to come up. And then you're actually having a conversation with someone. You're not just like, Jay's Web Design.
Especially if you're somebody who struggles with that.
Right.
Because just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you're gregarious and that you are a conversationalist and you have all these, great personality traits.
I mean, you can just keep describing me if you want. I love it.
So you're kind of setting yourself up for a little bit of success and taking some of that hard stuff that might be hard for you and kind of giving yourself a boost, in the right direction that maybe it doesn't come naturally to you.
Sure. But yeah, like you and I both literally created our logos that have been sustaining us for a combined 5 years on Canva.
In like less than 10 minutes.
And they're still there.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't overthink.
Yeah.
Like when you've got 6 figures rolling in, pay somebody to design you something legit. But before that, the logo isn't going to sell anything.
No. It's the story.
Right.
As we are always saying.
Yeah.
Check out season 1. Which, speaking of season 1, that brings us to our joint effort for 2024, which is the More Gooder Ideas podcast, which we have not talked about at all before this, about what our goals are for our podcast this year.
No, we haven't. This is scary.
Yeah, on the fly.
We're just going to put it out here for all 5 people that are...
We can't go back on it now. It's recorded.
Right.
I mean, my goal would be a stronger presence on social media.
Okay.
because I think that would be a good way to get people to listen to the show. Really, for no other reason than that. And then my other goal would be find more entrepreneurs, find more small businesses that we can go into their space, whether it be their place of business, their studio, their kitchen, get to know their business and also get to know them.
Sure.
And again, hopefully we grow. It would be awesome if we made money or we got a sponsor. Maybe we'll start a Patreon or something for some special content. But I had so much fun last year. Genuinely. I'm not just saying that for the camera. Coming here, talking, going places, talking, finding the connections between all different kinds of entrepreneurs and small businesses. So I hope that we can just like elevate that and have a broader understanding of that going into 2024.
Sure. So while I like your goals, they're not measurable at all.
Nope.
They're just more social media presence.
More of what we're already doing.
We're going to do more gooder stuff in 2024. You'll know it when you see it. So I think we need to put numbers on things. Like we want this many followers, we want this many in-site interviews. And I think one thing that will help us tremendously is if we really calendar our recording, because we didn't do that and life got in the way a lot. So we would record several episodes at once and then have long breaks. I think when we first started, we thought a big thing we needed to get to was a content plan. And I think every time we've done that, it's fallen flat.
Yeah.
So I think we just need to recognize that just the Wonder Twins Activate is all we need to do, right? Just get together and start babbling at each other, and eventually the possum and the raccoon will just magic.
But maybe we just
Trash
schedule when
magic.
we're going to do that. Maybe not what we're talking about,
Right.
but when we're going to do it. And I think that would help our individual businesses too, because I think that was one of the main things was we were blessed enough to be busy in our own individual businesses. But I do have a commitment. I have a commitment to this podcast and to you. So I think that is a great goal.
Okay.
You're already better at this than I am.
Well,
My goal is to get better at setting goals for this podcast.
hey, I didn't say I was good at setting goals. I just merely pointed out that it wasn't a smart goal. I know what good goals are.
A goal that I do have that we talked about last year a little bit that I think is measurable, it has a time frame, is going into the public, whether it be vendor events, networking events, not as our individual businesses, but as More Gooder Ideas.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that brings up another goal because I do want to get figured out how to do remote pod interviews.
Yes.
Because it's just, us going there or them coming here is not going to work for everybody. And I don't want to not interview someone who would have a tremendous story and a tremendous impact for our listeners just because we can't work it out physically.
Right.
Or like Monica, who I was on her podcast several months ago, the web designer down in Texas. I want to have her on our podcast. So I need to figure out, and I know it's simple, but I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know necessarily if you and I could be sitting next to each other and we have somebody remote. If we do, that's a big...
Well, and it could make a big difference for us for the times when we are busy.
Sure.
Maybe we do hop on at 10 o'clock at night and you're in your basement and I'm hiding in my bathroom somewhere, so that we can have the content.
I'm not awake at 10 o'clock at night. It's not going to... That part's
or
not gonna,
early mornings, we
you
struggle.
Do 4 a.m. I'm your guy.
So I think that's a great goal. Are you writing these down? Or are you going to write them down when you watch this
we're
back?
Recording.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I have to watch it again to edit it.
Okay.
I'll write it down then.
Please do.
I will.
That's a really good one. I would like to, I don't know if this isn't really measurable necessarily, but for us to also utilize the platform we do have for More Gooder Ideas to talk more about our own businesses.
Okay.
Because More Gooder Ideas as of right now is not going to bring us any income.
True.
and to invest in this really fun hobby, we do need our personal businesses. And I think that we could find a way to do that that is organic, that doesn't feel like this is actually just a commercial for Sandy Pants Customs or
Right.
for Root of Pie.
Right.
And I think people will be more likely to patronize our businesses because they are getting to know us and they know kind of the heart of how we are business owners.
Yeah. I don't hate the idea.
A measurable goal for me personally for More Gooder Ideas, I want to take at least one picture and or video every time we record.
Oh, yeah.
Just to document.
We haven't done that.
I did it today.
I did.
You just didn't see it.
Oh, God.
Sneaky snake.
Sneaky snake.
Not just for like content for social media, because both of us are not great at coming up with like super unique ideas for that. But also just to document our journey, so we have something to look back
to
on.
make a Snapfish book.
Yeah, a little tabletop book. We can send one to all our.
It'll be on the walls of our global offices one day when we're.
Yeah, when we're
this is-
Joe Rogan in it,
Yeah. JRE.
and we'll send them to all the people that we did on locations at. As like a Christmas gift, but I want to be able to not just look at like listener analytics and social media analytics, but just like our personal journey at the end of the year.
Sure.
I wish we would have done that last year, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's you always do that. You know, everyone does that though. I wish, had I only, but your hair's on fire when you're first starting something, so.
Oh, I thought you meant like I looked really good. Sorry. I just immediately took it as a
When
compliment.
you did that, I was like, what the okay.
I'm really feeling myself.
I thought you were getting into character or something. I don't know what the hell's
That was so embarrassing.
off to a great start this year.
And then, now that we've talked about our individual business goals, we've talked about More Gooder Ideas. What are some tips for our listeners for goal setting? I mean, we're already in January, but it's never too late
Right.
to set your intentions for a new year or a new quarter, or maybe you're just starting your new business. What tips or best practices do you have for our listeners about kind of setting goals? And
I've always kind of avoided goal setting because I don't like, if I say I'm going to do something anywhere down the road, not a chance. No chance. I'm not going to, if I'm going to do this in 2024, that gives you way too big. And I think there was a book, it's like the 12-week year or something, like it's a business book that says actually to break your business goals down into quarters, because then it's far easier to pull them into, I'm going to do this each month, I'm going to do this each week, and I'm doing this every day. Rather than if it's I'm going to do this in 2024, the horizon is so far out that you have no pressure to get anything done. So when it comes to actually achieving something, if I have to set a goal to it, I would much rather say I'm doing this by Friday and I'm doing this by January 31st. Past that, I don't really like doing it. I don't
don't like goal setting.
I don't, because I don't believe that I'm going to do it. I just know myself that well. So I have to have pressure.
Well, and that's another tip too, is to be realistic with yourself.
Sure.
If you are the kind of person who can set 20 goals and you're going to go through and tick each one of them off no
You're a
matter what
monster.
it takes, then please email us at moregooderideaspodcast@gmail.com so you can coach us through that. But like you said, if you know that, you have to do it now or it's not going to get done, you need to take that into consideration when you are making your goals.
Sure.
Is this something I can start on right now?
Yeah.
Or maybe is this something that goes on the back burner?
Yeah. I think the only other thing I would say that I definitely use if I'm really going to set a goal, like I did with becoming a B Corp, is you got to tell people about it. You have to and not that you expect them to apply pressure to you, but in your mind, if you said you were going to do something, you are far more likely to pressure yourself to do it.
Yep.
So I put it on LinkedIn,
It's accountability.
and now I've put it on the podcast that I'm going to have Root of Pie be a B Corp in 2024. So that definitely applies pressure, because what am I going to do? I'm going to go in and delete it.
Somebody's going to come up and ask you about it, and you're just going to.
Right. Oh, yeah. So the B Corp office was closed last week. they had a run on certifications.
Never mind.
Right. And then there was that tsunami. It was like it's a big thing.
That's a great point.
Election year.
And maybe it's somebody that is close to you, like Susan, who's going to ask you every day, what did you do?
Right.
Are you any step closer? A friend, a family member, a confidant who will realistically hold you accountable.
I've seen people who they challenge themselves to something saying, I'm going to do 10 pull-ups by June or whatever. And then they call their best friend and say, hey, if I don't do 10 pull-ups by June, I owe you $1,000.
Yeah. You can slap me in the face.
It's got to be something painful. So it's like they put $1,000 in an envelope and they both like sign it and it goes in the bank. And if you don't do that, they get $1,000. So you are definitely going to be motivated then.
Amen.
Not just because it's $1,000, but because you don't want to hand that to your friend.
No.
And say, I failed.
I think it's really easy to lose sight of your goals when you do keep them to yourself because you can explain, you can justify it to yourself.
You're not committing to them.
Like you said, you can justify the tsunami taking out the internet portal where you apply for whatever, but you can't justify that to somebody else,
right.
And my tip is lame, but it really helps me, is list making. Even if it's just, these are my goals for the day. Like, these are the 5 things I need to do today. I get overwhelmed easily. And like you said, now, I would never admit it before now, but the broader the time frame is, the way less likely I am to accomplish it at all. So I make a lot of lists. I do like a weekly list. I do a daily list. I've got it written down. I've got it on my phone. And not only does it keep me on track, but it motivates me to be able to cross that off.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's heard that, make a list, of course, but it really is impactful for me. And it can also help you kind of organize sort of priority as well. The things at the top of my list are the most important. The things at the bottom, okay, if it gets done next week.
Right.
Or so that would be kind of my tip or trick for the listeners. And if you think that that's like simple or basic and you've never tried making a list and getting the like endorphins from marking something off a list,
right,
you should really try it.
Absolutely. And it's different than putting it in Taskade or some app that you can just change to tomorrow. If you write it down and cross it out, yeah.
It makes a huge difference. Sure. And for me at least, it's that visual reminder because my mind is going.
So let's backtrack a little bit as we wrap this one up. And knowing everything you know now after 35 minutes, what do you think about your goals for Sandy Pants for 2024?
For Sandy Pants, I think my goals are the same, but I don't think it's going to be my goals for 2024. I think it's going to be my goals for Q1.
There you go.
Because you're exactly right. And I'm sure I knew that in my brain somewhere, but did not want to admit it, that the bigger the time frame is, the less likely I'm going to do it.
Sure.
And I'm going to be kicking myself in October, November, when I'm in the thick of it and I haven't done anything that I wanted to do. In your busiest
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I will also definitely, obviously I'm going to bring you into it because we talk all the time, but maybe find somebody like Caitlin or a person that I have a friendship with, but also kind of that business connection with, who can help hold me accountable besides just, my buddy who she might hold me accountable, but she's still going to love me afterwards. You might hate me if I tell you I'm going to do something and I don't do it. So
yeah, you're dead to me.
Yeah, I think my goals will be the same, and I think I'll definitely refine them more on paper because that's the kind of person I am. But I think it's I don't think they're 2024 goals now. I think they're first quarter goals.
And even you may have had a goal that's going to take 2024 to do, but you can section that off and just say, all right, I'm going to get more business-like. What does that mean? So I'm going to start using accounting software in January. Or, chunk up that goal to things that are achievable. So then you can look at the end of Q1 and say, yeah, I'm now 30% of the way towards this big goal because I've knocked out all these little steps.
Yes. And I need that because it's crazy up here. It's crazy town up here. I'm like you. I mean, you understand. It's there's always a new idea.
Oh, yes.
And oh my gosh, why didn't I think about that? And I better write that down or I'm going to forget it. And then let's talk about this on the podcast. And I have this idea for sure. I mean, it's constant. And so even making those goals and like really refining the goal is hard for me. So I really want to push myself to say, this is what I'm going to do by March, not by the end of the calendar year.
Cool.
And if you like what you're hearing, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really lets us know how great we're doing, which we need. We need somebody to tell us how awesome we are, and it helps other people like you find our podcast and help us make it the best business podcast ever.
Absolutely. Amen.
I'm Angie.
And I'm Jay.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the More Gooder Podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at More Gooder Ideas and search us up on Facebook, the More Gooder Ideas Podcast. And don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode.